The next few videos are going to be about story elements. These are notes that we want to add to our notebook. I have interactive notebook elements for these notes. You can get them out of the crate. I want you to write on some of them. Some of them you're going to put notes underneath. So make sure that you're paying really close attention in all of these videos to what you specifically need to do for that thing. This first video we're going to talk about plot. Plot is our very first story element. So you should label your page story elements and then write number 1, plot, on the very first line. As you can see, this is one of our glue-ins. You can get it out of the crate and make sure that you write in these notes into the lines. So our plot is like the heartbeat of our story. Notice that it goes up and down like a heartbeat monitor, right? If your heartbeat monitor doesn't look like this, then you're not alive, and that's a bad thing, because we don't want to be dead, and we don't want our story to be dead either. So, let's talk about the different things, why we have the plot line that goes up and down like this. The first part is what's called exposition. The exposition is the story setup, and it's where we meet our characters, we learn about our setting, and any background information that the author wants us to know. So, for example, in Freak the Mighty, we learned that Max and Kevin met in daycare, and so that's important because they didn't get along at daycare, and now they've met again as teenagers, and they actually do get along and discover that they had more in common than they thought. So that influences the rest of the story. The second part is what's called the initial conflict. The initial conflict is the event that gets our story moving. It's the first thing that goes wrong. It's the first problem that our characters have to solve, and they have to start resolving things and looking at conflicts and issues. And so that starts us off on our journey of rising action. Rising action is the majority of our storyline. Notice that it's like the longest piece. Rising action are all of the events that build tension or anticipation throughout the story. So these can be through conflicts, these can be through events, or through characters even, what the characters are going through. The rising action just builds that sense of anticipation, the lead up to like the big event, the main climax, which is the fourth part. So the climax is the point of highest suspense in the story. It's where everything could go really, really wrong or really, really right. In superhero movies, this is going to be like the big battle where they fight like the bad guy and they either defeat him or not, right? Like that's what we're all like holding our breath to find out what's happening. So this could be a good thing or it could be a really bad thing. We're not sure, like maybe sometimes our main character is going to die. And when he doesn't die, then we have what's called our falling action. Our falling action are the events that happen after the climax. They start resolving some of our questions, they start ending some of the conflicts, and we start seeing where, like finding solutions to all the problems and understanding why the villain acted the way they did, or different things like that. So, then we end, the last part is what's called the resolution. The resolution is the end of the story. The characters and the conflicts wrap up in some way. Sometimes this is a positive way, we're really happy with the way that it ends. Sometimes it's a really negative way and we're upset with the way that it ends. But it resolves conflicts and it ends basically this storyline. So like Harry Potter number 1, it ends at the end of the school year and we know there's going to probably be another story, but the conflict over the Sorcerer's Stone is ended. So that is basically what the elements of plot are. Make sure that you know each of these words and what they mean. If you have questions, make sure that you come talk to me.